fumare include sigarette elettroniche è proibito dalle leggi statunitensi.
I'm very fortunate that I was able to return to the Eternal City in the summer of 2023, and this was a supremely special trip for me, as it's one in which I traveled with family to go meet my Australian nephew for the first time. So the first couple weeks of this trip were just visiting with family, and honestly, I don't want to share a lot of those photos or videos on this channel, but after the family trip was finished, my family went back home and I stayed in Europe to travel around a bit. I flew from Rome over to Barcelona, and this is only about a 2-hour flight, but it was a really good one. I always try to get the window seat, and just so I can film out the window, look at what we're flying over. We ended up flying right over the island of Sardinia. I thought this was a pretty cool shot right here. Would definitely love to visit Sardinia. It looks like a beautiful place. I've seen some really cool pictures of it. Yeah, it looks like they've got some incredible beaches, and I'm sure there's some great hiking in those mountains there. And right here, I think we're flying over a park that's in like the northwestern part of the island of Sardinia. I think it's pronounced, I'll give it a shot, Parco Nazionale della Asinara. Sorry about that. Arriving in Barcelona, I could see the Basilica de la Sagrada Familia from the air, which is a giant Catholic church. It's been under construction since 1882, so like 142 years. It's one of the first places that I visited after I landed in Barcelona. Definitely an incredible place to be. I think it's due to be completed in 2026. I was raised in the Catholic faith, but to be honest, I wouldn't say that I'm a very religious person right now. With that being said, I was definitely moved being inside of this place. I mean, even looking at it from like a scientific and architectural perspective, you have to admit that it's very impressive what human beings can do when they decide that they're going to work together on something. If you're going to go to Barcelona, it's kind of like a must-do thing, and I would recommend trying to go at either sunrise or sunset, so the light rays from the sun are shining through the stained glass windows. It's really an impressive structure to be inside, and even if you can't go inside, just being around it is really spectacular. Yeah, just incredible looking up. It's like being inside of a forest. I did want to mention another thing, the organ. So the church organ, you know, the musical instrument that you would hear playing inside of here, these pipes were just massive, and they're engineered with the structure of the building so that when you hear the organ being played from outside the church, the tone is going to be the same. I don't know if I'm doing a good job at explaining this, not the tone, but like the pitch, I guess. But you see how they kind of follow the spires up as the sound radiates out of those little vent holes that you see here. You're going to be able to hear what the organ player is playing. So just an incredible feat of engineering. Definitely check out La Sagrada Familia if you're going to Barcelona. It's kind of a must-do thing. If you're going to Barcelona, you're probably going to go check that out anyways. But yeah, just thought I'd echo that on this channel. So not far from here is the Arc de Triomphe, and a really nice park to hang out in. There's also a lot of other statues and things to see in that area. It's kind of a touristy place, so just know that there's a lot of people panhandling and stuff in that area. But I had a really good time in that area. It was really nice weather. I ended up going to the beach as well. A little too cold to swim, but warm enough for shorts and a t-shirt. But I also ended up just kind of filming the birds, as I tend to always do. But yeah, definitely did quite a lot of walking around in Barcelona. Just walked up this giant ass hill here in Barcelona. Oh, gorgeous day. I'm fucking beat, man. Walked all the way up here from La Sagrada Familia, basically. So I originally went to Spain, was gonna do the Camino de Santiago, specifically the Camino Frances. And I don't know, man, something was going on with me medically that I didn't really feel like it was the best time for me to take something on like that, even though that was like something I had been telling people that I was gonna do for the longest time. Maybe I'll make a long video about this, but long story short, I took a train out to Pamplona and was gonna get to another smaller town to start the journey, but I ended up bailing on it and decided not to do it. It was talking to other people on the trail. They were saying it was really crowded, really hard to get rooms, and if you guys want to, are interested in read more about why I quit this, you can check it out on my website. I made a blog post about this trip. Yes, and then after that, I decided I was going to go see the Alps. I've never been to the Alps, and that's kind of what I kind of switched my focus on this trip from walking the Camino to going to the Alps and just hanging out in the mountains. I took a train back to Barcelona, and I took a bus from Barcelona to Milan. And let me just say, don't do that. It was incredibly long. I think it was like a 14-hour bus ride, an overnight bus. But as the sun was coming up, I did get these really cool shots of these mountains right here. Yeah, these are some large mountains here. And this is where I kind of started to get more excited about this trip. Yeah, I generally just feel more at home in the mountains. And the bus ride turned out to be not so bad after all. It was a real scenic route. Definitely a real quick trip through France. I don't count this as a visit to France, by the way. And speaking of which, we're here at the border now. This is the border between France and Italy. The next large city along this route would be Turin. Pretty crazy looking bunker right there. Not sure, some military outpost or some old remnant from World War II maybe. Yeah, lots of just little like quaint villages, little tiny churches, and you can see some snow up on the peaks there. Definitely some taller mountains here. This would have been early May. I'm not sure the exact date that I was out here, but yeah, I was really getting excited going to the hills. And I think that's going to be a lot of this series, is just me kind of not doing like these long, arduous hikes like I have done in the past on this channel, but just kind of hanging out, going to a lot of areas that are, to be honest, pretty popular, at least for this trip. I think I have something going on medically, so trying to stay healthy. And then here I am in Milan. They dropped me off at a train station. This is the Duomo here in Milan. I think that's David and Goliath there, based on that rock in that guy's head, I think. Yeah, toured another large cathedral here. Another incredible structure. Definitely, if you're going to Milan, it's kind of another must-see thing to do. I thought this guy looked pretty cool. Again, I'm not the most religious person or familiar with a lot of these individuals here, but just the detail on some of these statues is absolutely impressive. And all the stained glass windows and everything, just being in these places is inspiring, no matter your faith. I mean, at least in my opinion, that's what I think of all that anyways. But yeah, and this you're allowed to go up on top of the Duomo here, which is pretty cool. And lots of little stairways and things. Just the amount of detail, and these are just, you could probably tour this thing 3 or 4 times if you're a mason or somebody that's really into stone architecture. There's just so many like gargoyles and little tiny statues, and the level of detail in these places is just incredible. But yeah, here I am on top of the roof, and as you can see, it was really crowded. And then heading down the stairs, I feel like I was running out of gas a lot, and even just walking around. Like I said, I think I've had some kind of medical thing that I've had going on. Was able to make this trip happen safely though. So I ended up taking a train from Milan to Lake Como, and that was a great idea because this place is gorgeous. Lake Como is nestled in the foothills of the Italian Prealps, and it's renowned for its stunning natural beauty and its serene waters. Its picturesque shores have long attracted the rich and famous, including actor George Clooney, who owns a villa here. And I don't know what these are, but now you see them, and now you don't. But yeah, I kind of just walked around this lake, hung out by the shore, even though it was a really rainy day. Lake Como experiences a moderate amount of rainfall, particularly in the spring and autumn months. And I filmed all this in late May of 2023. But yeah, the summers here are generally warmer with less frequent rain. This is pretty cool right here, watching a small airplane outfitted with some pontoons land on water, which, I don't know, I thought that was pretty cool. I think it's technically called a float plane. Maybe it's a seaplane. I don't know, I'm not really sure the difference. But yeah, I ended up walking by the place where they launched these float planes from, and I think you can go for a ride in these if you want. I think they operate like a scenic flight tour, although I'm sure it's probably quite expensive, and really I don't think today would have been a good day for it. I did some Googling and found out that Lake Como attracts about 1.5 to 2 million visitors a year. The area's growing popularity has made it one of Italy's top travel destinations. I just happened upon a car show of some kind when I was walking around the lake, and later I found out that Lake Como is quite popular among car enthusiasts, mostly because of the scenic, winding roads that offer drivers a thrilling driving experience. The region also hosts several prestigious car events, making it a favorite destination for those who enjoy road trips in high-end cars. I ended up taking this rail car up the side of this mountain and was able to get to this gorgeous view right here. I certainly didn't hike up to this height on a day like this. It was only €6 to take this rail car up and back down, which, I don't know, I thought that was a pretty good deal. It took us up to the village of Brunate and ended up walking around up there for a couple hours. Really cool views up there. I think on a nicer day I would have explored that town up there a little more, but I don't know. I think that area, if you're going to be in Lake Como, that's worth the €6 to go up to that viewpoint and back. So I went back down on the rail car. As you can see here, this is the only video I have from the rail car itself. But then when I got back down, I walked back to the other side of the lake and I looked up at the track where I just went down. It looked like it had just clouded out, so it looked like I got down just in time. But yeah, I was only in Lake Como for one day. Basically, this trip started out as a family trip, and it kind of was sporadic. I knew I wanted to stay in Europe and do some traveling, and I thought, okay, well, I'll do the Camino. And it kind of just turned into a trip where I didn't really have a plan. A lot of the things that I didn't even record any video. I was just kind of traveling around and kind of being spontaneous. But yeah, there's a lot of cool videos coming up from Switzerland and Holland. So definitely stay tuned if you guys want to see what I got coming up on the channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.